Yeah. And we see that, folks. As of today, Graham Platner, the Senate candidate from Maine, the state of Maine, has dropped out of the race, or at least suspended his campaign for Senate against Susan Collins, who's about as popular right now as, diabetes, And so as you see this, so what happened was Graham Platner is this sort of populist, left-coded, regular guy who was like an oyster fisherman or something. I think he's an oyster fisherman, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's an oyster fisherman. And he ran as, look, I was in the military. I got PTSD in Iraq, serving in Iraq. He was a Blackwater missionary as well. And he basically came back from the wars that America sent him to, radicalized, and sort of became a sort of firebrand leftist or left-wing person after realizing that, like many people from Vietnam to Iraq, Afghanistan, and every other American war, that America's endless wars are for profit to Blackwater and Lockheed Martin and those type of things, as opposed to being about, the working class and defending the homeland. And so while this was going on, he was taking a lot of shots at the corporate establishment Democratic Party and Donald Trump. And he actually became sort of a rising star in the Democratic Party because, like, people like Zoran Mamdani and AOC and sort of Daria Liza Chevalier and sort of the new people that we're seeing, they're taking aim at a Democratic Party that has shown that it don't have the answers and that it's not ready to meet the moment to sort of head off the sort of right-wing oligarchic elite fascists like Donald Trump and Elon Musk and those types of people. So they have been fishing around for a long time to try to find anything to get Graham Platner out. And they really wanted to prop up Janet Mills, who was the governor of Maine. And she was your typical liberal corporate Democrat who supports Israel and the Wall Street and the war industrial complex and those types of things. He defeats her handily. He gets 70% of the vote. He gets more votes than any candidate's ever gotten in Maine history in the primaries, and knocks Janet Mills out of the way. But that did not stop the Democratic or Republican elites from continuing to dig and dig. At first they said he was a communist because they found posts of his on Reddit, which is a forum, internet forum, where he talked about basically calls himself a communist, and says that he accuses white America of being stupid and racist. And so they said, look, he's a communist. He's a crazy left-wing communist. And that dog really didn't hunt. It didn't really affect his popularity much, so they went in the opposite direction. He's a Nazi. He's got a Nazi tattoo, which anybody who knows their history, and I really hope to God you all know your history, you know that communists hate the Nazis. The Nazis literally murdered 30 million communists in World War II. Some of the first people targeted by the Nazi Party was the communists and the socialists. Please tell me you know your history like this, okay? So they push these mixed messages. He's a communist. No, he's a Nazi. Knowing those things contradict each other. So they failed there. So now they've gone with he's a sex pest, as they say in Britain. He's a pervert. And so these sexual assault allegations have essentially been the thing that finally clicked. The crisis began when a former girlfriend of his accused him of sexually assaulting her in 2021. She alleges that he came to her home intoxicated and coerced her into non-consensual sex. Now, we have the text. She said, she wrote to him in a text that she needed a glute massage. Now, you know what your glutes are. You know what the glutes are, right? We all know, you know, booty, 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 rocking everywhere, as the saying goes, the song goes. So she, and he says, okay, I'm right on it. I'm right on it. I'll be right there. And then she's like, no, wait, I didn't mean I wanted you to give it to me. And he's like, too late. I'm already here, apparently. And at that point, what happened is in dispute. She says that it was some sort of loose. She's not saying he out and out raped her, but she's saying that there was some sort of uncomfortable sexual encounter. He's saying he's categorically denied these allegations. He's saying it's false and politically motivated. They actually tried to get another girlfriend of his to come out and say that he sexually assaulted her, but it came out that she was straight up a Republican operative who works for the Republican Party. So that, again, that didn't hunt. And so, of course, because the Democratic Party are cowards, sniveling cowards who never miss an opportunity to fold at the slightest the slightest point of struggle, they've already started. They called for him. The people who had endorsed him, a lot of them, and even some who didn't, started calling for him to step aside. Chuck Schumer, who is the most corporate puppet establishment AIPAC stooge in Congress. He just happens to be the leader of the Democrats in Congress, which tells you what you need to know about the mainstream of the Democratic Party. Elizabeth Warren, another coward who doesn't fight for what she claims she believes in. Bernie Sanders, another coward who doesn't fight for what he believes he says he does. And Ro Khanna, another coward who doesn't fight for what he believes he says. The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee also announced that they would not support his campaign if he remained as the nominee. So now they got to choose a replacement in a relative short period of time. The elections are in November. The Maine Democratic Party would choose a replacement. And so right now it's looking like Troy Jackson, who is another sort of gruff, everyday dude in Congress. I mean, dude who's sort of like, I think he's like a fisherman or farmer or something. And so he's got a lot of the dude bro aesthetics that Graham Platner has. Now, this race is important because the Democrats are trying to take back the Senate. Losing this seat could cost them the Senate. So it just goes to show you that in a lot of instances, as I've said countless times, the Democrats would rather lose to the Republicans. They would much rather lose to Republicans than be forced to be a left-wing party that actually helps the people and that actually stands up against the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, Wall Street. That's why I stopped being a Democrat. Just being real with you here. So again, they could still win. It's possible they could still win over Susan Collins. I told you Susan Collins is as popular as diaper rash at this point. So but it is close. It is close. Troy Jackson seems to be doing pretty well against Susan Collins, but we will see. So here's the problem that I have with this whole scenario, right? This is so obviously a hit job from AIPAC. The American Israel Political Action Committee. This is obviously an AIPAC hit. Now, how do we know this? Well, all we have to do is look at examples in our government. Who is the president of the United States right now? Anybody know? It's Donald Trump. Now, why is that important? Well, Donald Trump has been accused by at least 28 women of various acts of sexual misconduct ranging from unwanted kissing and groping to rape. It was just ruled that he has to pay E. Jean Carroll $5 million for a 1996 encounter where he was found liable for sexual abuse and defamation against E. Jean Carroll. But yet, Donald Trump is going nowhere. Could it be because he supports Israel? And he's an AIPAC stooge who got hundreds of millions of dollars from Miriam Adelson? Well, let's just look at who else gets to keep their job. Pete Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense. He's a drunk. And not only is he a drunk, or a dry drunk as they call now, and a psycho, complete psycho, he's also been accused of sexual assault. In October 2017, an incident involved an allegation of sexual assault following a Republican women's conference in Monterey, California. While no criminal charges were filed by the local district attorney, Hegseth's team later confirmed they paid the woman a confidential settlement, later revealed to be $50,000 to protect his television career from a threatened lawsuit. Now, where's everybody saying that Pete Hegseth has to step down as the Secretary of Defense? Literally nobody's doing that. Even the Democrats aren't doing that. But if you thought it was just the Republicans, oh God, no. Oh no. The Republicans aren't the only people who get to sexually harass and sexually assault and get all kinds of accusations thrown at them. Let's look at our last president, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Okay? In 2020, Tara Reid, his former assistant in the Senate office, claimed he assaulted her in 1993. And his campaign denied the claim, saying that it never happened. But Kamala Harris, who would later be Joe Biden's vice president, said that she believed the allegations against Joe Biden. She literally said she believed his accusers. Additionally, in the 2020 campaign, 7 other women came forward to accuse Joe Biden of unwanted touching or inappropriate behavior, such as putting his hands on their shoulders or smelling their hair. These women all said that the behavior made them feel uncomfortable. And not only that, his daughter, Ashley, left her diary behind when she went to rehab, and the people who actually occupied her apartment after found her diary, and in her diary she writes about how her father, Joe Biden, used to take showers with her when she was a little girl and how she felt molested by her father. In Hunter Biden's laptop, when we found his laptop, and you looked at all the leak files from Hunter Biden, he refers to his father as Pedo Peter. So where was Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Ro Khanna, and all these people saying that Joe Biden needs to step aside? Where were they? None of them said he had to step aside. And of course, the granddaddy of all sex pests, William Jefferson Clinton, one of our history's greatest monsters, he's still around. He's still being dragged out at every DNC event. He's still campaigning. He was campaigning last year for Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York, who faced 10 charges of sexual harassment and sexual assault himself. Bill Clinton is still around. In 1978, Juanita Broderick said that he raped her when he was the Attorney General of Arkansas. Kathleen Willey, a White House volunteer, alleged that Bill Clinton forcibly kissed and groped her in the Oval Office in 1993. Leslie Milwee, a former Arkansas television reporter, said that Bill Clinton sexually assaulted her on 3 different occasions in 1980 when she was working at a local news station. And Bill Clinton had to pay Paula Jones $800,000 while he was the president of the United States. Because she claimed that he propositioned her and exposed himself to her in a hotel room in 1991. When did all these people say Bill Clinton? When did all these Democrats say that Bill Clinton had to step down? You have a member of Congress right now named Corey Mills who beat his girlfriend, who he was cheating on his wife with, while he was blackmailing his other girlfriend with revenge porn. And he's still in Congress right now. Right now. But what do all these people have in common? They are all Zionists. They are all AIPAC stooges. This was just an out-and-out hit job on a candidate who did not have the adequate amount of support for the genocidal state of Israel. It is that simple. Sometimes, folks, it really is just that simple. If I was Graham Platner, I'd have told him to go to hell. I would have said, I'm not dropping out of the race. I won. I got more votes than any candidate's ever gotten. And if you guys just don't want to support me, so be it. If Donald Trump gets to be president and Pete Hegseth gets to be the Secretary of Defense and Corey Mills gets to stay in Congress and Joe Biden didn't have to step down and Bill Clinton didn't have to step down and both of those dudes get to still campaign for other people and speak at DNC and Democratic events, then I'm not going anywhere. You can all go to hell. But thus, of course, as the saying goes, the mountains win again, folks. The mountains win again. Sometimes it's hard to beat City Hall. It's sort of it's one of those things that makes what Mom Donnie did in New York and other, a lot of these other races, you see how incredible it is, because if you go against the establishment in this country, if you go against Israel, you go against Wall Street, you go against the military-industrial complex, they will find out something you did in the 4th grade. If you dug in your nose in the 5th grade, if you pulled on a little girl's pigtails in middle school, they gonna find out. If you sneezed on somebody on the bus, they gonna find out. And they're gonna use it and they're gonna try to bring you down. All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to get into some conspiracy talk here. MK Ultra. A lot of y'all said it was just a conspiracy, and everybody was just crazy who believed in it. We'll see about that. Don't go nowhere. 219-885-1371. That number again is 219-885-1371. Right here on Straight Out the Cannon on Friday nights. We'll be right back after these, humans.